Hello, and I want to welcome Delila Black to Music Historian. And I want to say thank you, Delila, for joining us here today.
It's
Uh,
my pleasure. Thank you very much for inviting me. Great to
mhm.
be here.
Absolutely. For those of you who are joining in to see this video, know that Music Historian is on WordPress.com. And also, you can follow Music Historian on Facebook. I have provided a little link down there below. And of course, we're also going to, well, I'm going to tell you how to listen to Delilah's music. Her new single, Accountability, is releasing within a few days. Well, it's releasing on May 14th. And without further ado, I would like to get into a conversation with Miss Delilah.
Great.
Delilah, tell me a little bit about your musical background. How did you get started with music?
Well, music was always played in the house when I grew up. I've never kind of not really been involved with music. There was my dad had lots of records. My brother had records. The radio was always on, so it was a mix of top 40 or whatever it was, like chart music. We had Spanish records, French, Haitian. So there was always music in the house. My dad played a little bit of flute as well, so there was always music around. I was in high school band, so it was always there.
Mm-hmm. Excellent, great. And do you play any specific instruments?
Well, I did when I was younger. I played clarinet and I played oboe in a symphonic season in the marching band. And then I kind of got more into like computery stuff, you know. I was just really fascinated with production. So I would hire like whatever electronic equipment was out at the time. I would like save up my money from work and then I would like hire it and then like read the manual and then try and learn how to play it or how to make it work. So I wouldn't describe myself as a musician, but it's more like the music is a way that I express what I'm thinking and feeling, more like a I suppose like a medium. It's the medium that I use. So I wouldn't say I was a musician, but I use music to express whatever it is that I'm thinking. So I play a bit of ukulele really badly.
Oh, okay. Wonderful. And I was curious, did you ever have an aha moment when the time came to say, yes, I'm going to record music and I'm going to perform my work for audiences?
Yes, I did. I didn't really train in music, and it wasn't what I was doing. I was doing a fashion degree in New York, and that was really the direction that I was going. And then I I heard a lot of David Bowie music, and I didn't really. I knew who he was, but I kind of didn't know who he was because my background, you know, I came from a kind of sheltered background. So when I did, I heard all these songs, and then it turned out that this was all the same person, and I absolutely loved it and just like completely blew my mind. And then at the time, I thought to myself, oh, I'm doing the wrong thing. I shouldn't be making clothing. I should be making music, you know. So that was my aha moment for me was discovering David Bowie later in life.
Of course, this affected the entire world, the coronavirus shutdown. And you started the Lockdown 2020 fundraiser. And the song that you used to help to bring attention around that is You're So Common. And I was listening to the
Well,
verse.
yeah, though that it was like two different things. Because the fundraiser is routine, but the thing that kind of got me the attention was the video for "You're So Common."
Mhm,
So that's
mhm.
what happens. Yeah,
It's a
yeah,
cool video. I love the concept of just the different mobile phones there, and they're all together with you. And I think it's the guitarist and the drummer.
yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, that was. that's the only way we could really do it. And I think at the time, a lot of people were doing just videos of them sitting in their homes, and there were a lot of these videos coming out, and it didn't really work for what I was trying to do. It wasn't an acoustic thing, and it didn't really work for what I was doing. So they were filming it on their phones anyway. So I just thought, well, let's just put it on your phone. Let's just make it look like more or less like what it was. Yeah.
Understood. Got it. And if you don't mind me asking, what was the personal inspiration behind "You're So Common"? I know there's the lyric, "Crack your whip," and one of the lyrics, some of the lyrics is, "Don't let those demons push you around. You better fight them." And I wanted to know a little bit more about that.
Yes, this was around the time of the things were happening in the States with the Black Lives Matter movement, and it was sort of resonating around the world. Um, and I had written the song actually a year before any of this had happened. I had written this song beforehand, and I was just starting to do something with it. And at the time that I wrote it, I was worried about it because I felt like it might be too aggressive a song. There's a little bit of swearing in it, and I was just feeling like I didn't really, sometimes I think as an artist, as a Black artist, I think too, as a female artist, we automatically, I know I do, kind of go into this kind of editing or censorship because you don't want to come across as being aggressive or being like the whole angry Black woman thing. And then and I had written the song, and there's a lot of I was just writing what was in my head, and then I would edit it. That's what I would do. I'd put down what I was thinking, and then I would edit it, and then sort of make it palatable or make it nice for whoever was going to be looking at it. And on this particular occasion, I decided not to do that, and I liked it better, with just the raw, what was going on in my head. And excuse me, I did think that, when I first recorded it, that it sounded a bit paranoid and all the rest of it, but that's what was going on in my head. So I just put it down like that, and it really fit with what was happening at the time when we did the video. It just happened to fit what was happening in the news, and it was, what I've been seeing and what I've experienced in my own life as well is that, at some point you have got to draw the line, and there are people that you really cannot negotiate with. I mean, you put your hand out and they bite it off,
Mm-hmm.
and the more you allow them to do that, the more they do. They're just in it for the power, I suppose, whatever it is that they're in it for. You've got to draw the line, and if you don't take them down, they're going to take you down, and you've got to make a decision. And the decision in that song is to, like, don't let them do it.
Mm-hmm. Got it. Well, thank you. And then I was thinking about Black Lives Matter when I heard the song Accountability, and that was the song that made me interested to learn more about you and your music. It follows a classic country waltz, and it just really does feel timeless because I think accountability is something that throughout history, whether it was around civil rights and social justice reform, it's still happening now. Um, And I wanted to know from your perspective why it was important to release the song now.
Yes. Well, for me, again, I write from a place of what's going on in my head. If I've got something to say, that's when I'll write, and that's when I'll put something out. I mean, I do seem to have a lot to say, but that's when I'll write. I try to make the lyrics not so much like, sort of politically sounding lyrics, because it could just as easily be some relationship, it could just as
Mm-hmm.
easily be like some relationship breakup or anything really, or some, introspection or something like that. But that is what I had in mind is the amount of people that I was seeing in the news that had these positions of power and authority, and making decisions over people's lives. And really came out of that, and it came together quite quickly. And the thing that kicked it off was I just saw a couple of headlines, and again, it's the headlines that did it for me. And there was one that I saw that I just thought was hilarious and horrible. And it was this senator had taken a holiday from, helping his constituents, and he said it had something to do with his kids or something. That's why he did it. He left his post because his kids wanted to go somewhere. And I thought, wow, dude, really? Is that the best you could come up with? You might as well have just said the dog ate it. It was just it's just ridiculous. So, and the song is a bit whimsical, but the message is still behind there. It's just ridiculous, really, what people are getting away with. And it also frightens me a bit because it makes me think about, we're all kind of complicit in watching some really horrible things happening. And not really doing too much about it, I mean, I keep hearing, well, how did we get here? And you can just, I mean, pick up a newspaper every week and you can see how we got here. Because we're all just kind of, I'm saying this for myself as well. It's like, oh, we're just like watching it horrified and then watching something else and horrified. But I don't know. I'm dreading to think what next year this time might be like. I'm hoping for the best, but yeah, but that's what all of that was about. Just made me think about all these things.
And it's known as the second lockdown single, is that correct?
Yes, yes, it was. Well, technically, really, it's the first proper one. I mean, I had done You're So Common as the first one, but it was more the video, because I haven't mastered the song yet. I'm just getting it mixed. I'm just getting You're So Common mixed, and it hasn't been mastered and ready like for radio or anything. It's a demo that's on the video because I was just getting things out there. I do a lot of demos, and now and again, I'll get some money together and do the master and try to get it on the radio. But that one isn't really ready. So it was really it's a lockdown single, but it's a demo single.
The song Accountability. The sounds of BJ Cole on lap steel guitar helps make the song both topical and timely. And in addition, you had the Color Me Country grant help you in finishing the song. What was the overall journey like of having or getting Accountability released?
Right. Well, the Color Me Country grant of the Rainy Day Fund, helping to as well, really made the difference, because mostly, as I said, I do a lot of, fancy demos, really. I I record it to the best of my ability with the equipment that I have. But to get something mixed professionally and mastered professionally, that's a whole nother side of recording that can be quite expensive. And I don't always have the money to do that. So mostly I've just been doing my demos. And then with this particular song, Color Me Country just happened to be there to give me the money to actually have it mixed properly, have it mastered and ready for airtime. So my journey, through like any of the things that I'm doing, it's always for me like a question of resources. So if I can get the resources to take whatever it is a bit further, then I'll take it a bit further because mostly like I'm a DIY artist. I do, I make my own videos, learn how to do that by watching YouTube. I learned just about everything by watching YouTube and reading manuals. So I didn't train for any of this, and I've got great respect for people who've, had done the years at the universities and things to do that. So I've kind of self-taught in all of it, really, in all of it. So for me, it's I've reached a point where I can do just so much DIY, and then at the next stages I really have to get like a proper professional in, because I can create the material, but I can't do that extra step, to get it, to make it on air worthy to compete with what's like really like, well recorded records and things. So Color Me Country has, if I hadn't had that grant, it would have been another sort of like a really well done demo. I've got like, quite a few demos that I really like. I think they're really good demos, but they made it possible for me to take it a step further. And that's usually the journey for me, is like trying to figure out, okay, I can take this particular track this far. And then, okay, so what else can I do with it? Well, I can do a video. So, I'll do a video. And then, so, because the things like You're So Common, I'm still working on mastering that. So that's still, the journey's still on for that as well. So it's just a matter of like, how far can I take this? Okay, I can take this. I can raise a little bit of money here, maybe get, something on Patreon or whatever, a GoFundMe thing, or to apply for some grants. So it's as I get the money to do it, that's when I can take it further.
Been asking artists what their greatest challenges were, and one of the answers that they gave me was, of course, the cancellation of live shows. Everything seemed to have moved online through virtual shows, would it be like Facebook Live or any other sort of avenue. But speaking with you, Delilah, I think it was also getting your work remastered by somebody, because that studio time was also placed on shutdown. And I wanted to know from you, what have been the greatest challenges for you during this shutdown?
All right. Well, let's see. It was very different for me, I think, than for people who were making their livelihoods, you know, with live work. Because the time that I started to get my gigs booked and things, I was just starting to do that. Up until that point, I was really writing, I wanted to write some stuff, and then I was like experimenting with how to make videos. I was really like learning how to do this stuff myself. And as I started to get booked, that's when lockdown happened. I think we had a gig in April that would have been like the first sort of gig where we would be supporting someone. That was our first gig for supporting, because other than that, we'd been doing these other like low profile gigs, and it was for James Brown's ex-wife. She has a band. I think she's called Tommy Ray. I hope I'm saying that right. Tommy Ray Brown. I hope I got that out. Tammy Ray Brown. But we were booked to support her at a venue here, and that was April 10th, and then in March everything was shut down. So that was been the first like gig that we were going to do. So for me, I was always doing things online anyway, so it wasn't too bad, because I was actually, thinking and speaking with the guitarist as well, and with Desiree, who does the beats, and thinking about what I really want to do is to maybe have a party or something, invite some people over, do a gig, like a private gig for those people, record it, whatever, and then have that as I was thinking already of going online and doing that's what I had to do, because I thought it would be a nice environment. It's easier to manage. And there's not the hassle of, calling people and trying to do this, all the hassle of managing and arranging. So that was my plan to begin with. So when lockdown happened, and then, everything was being done online anyway, and people were like sending videos, it didn't really affect me too much, because that's kind of what I had wanted to do. It really hurt some people that I knew very badly, though, because that was their whole livelihood was completely gone. So I really did feel for them. What I did get out of it, as bad as it was, what I did get out of it is it really helped me to focus on what I was working on, and how to kind of navigate from A to B. I did manage to get a couple of performance videos done with the equipment that I had. and that got me a spot in the Decolonize Festival last year, September. And then also in the Americana Music Association UK Festival. That was, for me, that was a bit of a bummer because I had arranged, we had opened up, lockdown had opened up a little bit, and I had arranged to have a full band in, and I had a fiddle player called Ben Paley, who was going to be like my guest musician there, and we had an upright bass and guitar. You know, I had a full band booked to play, and then the second lockdown happened, and then we couldn't travel. So that was very, very difficult for me, and really so disappointing. So what I did end up having to do is I did have an acoustic guitarist who did accompany me, and we just had to do like a really stripped down set. And it was fine. I mean, it worked out okay. Also, like I had a couple of people that were going to come and help me, you know, crew wise to do like a video, and that didn't happen either. So it ended up being me with the guitarist, with, you know, with our phones, a couple of phones sort of strategically placed around it, just try to get a performance to send to them, just to get it, you know, into the show. So it was pretty stripped down and not really, you know, what I was hoping to do. So yeah, that really was a gut punch for me there, because I really wanted to get that performance in the festival. So who knows, maybe this year, if all goes well, you know, if I can get on, because it's a pretty great festival. So it's not easy to get on these things. So we'll see, but that was the you know, for me that was a pretty tough one, for tough pill to swallow. Yeah.
I was reading your website too, and one of the things that you put out there was a quote that you had published on your website. Did you do your website by yourself?
Yep.
Well, it's beautiful. I like it.
I'm
And
trying to learn how to do more stuff on it, but I think what I will do is just, you know, get the money together, get some funding, and hire a website designer, you know, so I can get on with making some music.
got it. And you've written, quote, I've been developing my own alternative Americana sound, exploring what I call electro mountain music, a punk country, and trip steel guitar, including some genre jumping, some mashups, country noir, and old traditional, end quote. And I found this so interesting because you talk about creating something new, but with something traditional, and I wanted to know if you could speak a little more to that.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, as I said, my intention is always to say what's going on in my head. You know, I hear things in my head and I want to get it out of here and out there as best as I can. And the things that excite me are things that you cannot necessarily describe, like, you know that you like it, but you couldn't say, like, what is it, you know, exactly about the thing that you like. And my challenge and what I try to do is, like, if I am trying to express something, I'm trying to present it in a way that I think is the way that'll get the most people to listen to it or to be interested in it, you know, as something that, you know, perhaps they may not have heard before, or something that may not have been presented in that way before, you know. So when I say, you know, use these descriptions like, you know, like trip steel guitar, or something like that, I mean, I'd like to mix genres so much that it kind of surprises someone that the two might actually meet, because I try to find the things that, you know, two separate things actually have in common, and see where they overlap. Like I say, like, I look for cultural overlaps and I explore them. So I see what they have in common and how they work together. And it'd be like a couple of things that you might never think would ever go together. And I really love doing that, because I feel that that reaches a lot more people, because you'll get somebody who might never listen. For example, like, I like to do like kind of like these kind of DJ mashup things, you know, I get like two songs stick them together and see what happens. And I did one with um, Kurt Cobain, "Smells Like Teen Spirit," and this old song from called "Ring My Bell" by Anita
Mhm.
Ward. I don't know if you know that song. It's
Yeah.
like a '70s classic kind of disco-y thing. And I had Kurt Cobain's vocals over the "Ring My Bell" music, and I stuck the two together, and they go together beautifully. They
Hmm.
the vocal sits right on top of there beautifully, and I would have never thought that would happen. And I played it at there's a London Remix Festival, and they, before lockdown, there's a London Remix Festival, and I got in to do this thing called the disco lift. You send, like, your mashups and the things that you've done, and then they pick a few people to kind of do this particular thing. So that was one of the things that was on there, and people absolutely loved it because it's just something that you just would not hear or ever would think to go together. And somebody who was into one particular type of music may not be into the other particular type of music, and then you get those two together. And to me, I think that's magical. And the whole point is communicating. So whenever that happens, I'm thrilled. I'm absolutely thrilled. And that's why I like mixing things up. I like, genres mashing into each other and then working. I like, hearing singers that may not sing a particular style sing in a particular style, because I think it reaches more people, and I like that. I like that communication.
Great. And do you hope that this communication is something that audiences will take away when they listen to your music?
Yes. Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, my whole thing when I'm recording, when I'm actually working on the demos, what I'm actually trying to do is I'm trying to create a kind of atmosphere for somebody. If somebody hears this thing and they've never heard it before, I really want them to do a double take, or to just for a second go, "Oh, what's that?" And just, and then to get kind of pulled in. And then my hope is that whatever got them to just look over there for a second will actually keep them there for the whole thing. And then, like taking them on a journey, that's because that's how I used to listen to music when I was a kid. I would hear something, and then I would just really go wherever this song was going, and just would take me somewhere. And at the end of the 3 minutes or whatever it was, to 6 minutes, whatever, and then I would go through something and then come back out. And I want to take people on a journey. I want them to have like a real experience when they hear something. So that's why I experiment with sounds and things like that. And if I can add a visual, to add a visual, because I really want to take people somewhere. And I want to feel like, if when they hear my songs, or if they see my videos with the songs together, I want them to feel as if they've actually experienced something, and they've actually sort of traveled somewhere and have been some. So they kind of go in there, and then they've come out and they're like, "Oh, wow, like a little holiday."
Hmm.
I want to take them somewhere.
Well, that sounds wonderful. And yeah, I do think your music helps to accomplish that, to just like take me somewhere. A lot of your music is very lyrical, especially the country songs as well. And it's just refreshing to go somewhere, especially if you're in a situation where you can't leave
Yeah,
your
yeah.
place, you
Yeah,
know.
yeah. Just give your mind just a little wander off somewhere, and go to another place for a while, and just have that experience and come back out. I feel like, that I've accomplished something. And yeah, it's great. I was posting these little videos up on Facebook and things, and then Tony Visconti started writing these really nice messages on there, and I was so happy. I was so happy, and I really felt like, well, I'm definitely, doing something good, because he's amazing. I mean, he's like, that's the ultimate validation. And I felt, and it was the videos that he first seen, and I thought, wow, well, this is exactly what I want to do. If I mean, he's seen like everything, and for him to take the time to kind of just come and just to, have these bits of encouragement and things there, that really made me feel like, I'm doing something that I really should be doing. It's not just like, it's my passion, but I feel like I'm achieving something, like I'm giving something to whoever looks at it, you know?
Hmm. Hmm. Fantastic. Is there anything you would like to speak to which I did not address during this interview regarding your music or regarding the new single?
Let me see. Well, oh, I would like to thank Color Me Country Fund for Artist Grant for the money that they gave me to actually be able to make this happen. I mean, it's I appreciate it so much, and the Rainy Day Fund. Thank you so much to Reese Palmer and the whole team doing that. And I'd really like to encourage people if they hear music that they like, to really try to go to the band's whatever it is, their Bandcamp, their website, whatever it is, aside from Spotify, because yeah, I know you can hear it on Spotify, but you know, a lot of people, you know, it's nice that people can hear it, but people need support. So if you can, whoever you like their music, go and buy it, you know, give a dollar or two here. It all helps. And if nothing else, the artists really appreciate it. If you see something that you like, take a minute and just comment and say, oh, you know, love your track, or just something like that, because it really does help the people who are trying to make this music, because it's for their own mental health as well that they're doing it. They're doing it for themselves as well. So yeah, to just support people as best as you can. If you're interested in donating any money to a charity, I strongly suggest the Grassroots Law Project. They are amazing, and you know, just Google them and have a look and see what they do. And other than that, yeah, I'm just like everybody, be careful out there. You know, it might be a little while. I know everything looks like it's normal, but it's not quite. You know,
Hmm.
just be careful out there.
Hmm. Great, thank you. Thank you so much for taking time to interview with music historian, for sharing your music with the world. And those of you who are tuning in know that Delila Black's song Accountability and her music is available on Bandcamp. Below is the link to her Bandcamp page. And she's also on Spotify, and you could learn more about how to stream her music through her and purchase her music through her website. It's also below. And Accountability will release on May 14th. And that's also going to be available on the streaming services as well, right, Delilah?
Yeah, on all the usual, be on Spotify and iTunes and all the usual ones.
Hmm. Great.
Mhm.
Well, thank you again, and thank you to everyone for tuning in. You can read Music Historian on WordPress.com and follow the blog if you have an account there. And it's also on. I also have my own Facebook page for Music Historian too, so make sure to follow that as well. Thank you so much, and
Thank you. Thank you. Great to do it. Thanks, everybody.